Well,
What time do you wake up?
no. This is going to be breakfast in Hong Kong. So,
Well, that's midnight anyway. Midnight snack in Hong Kong. I have been invited to go to several universities. In fact, any teacher who wants to do this is what you do. You email the Minister of Education at various cantons, provinces, and you tell them that you have specific recommendations that you can give to new teachers, and you'd like to give a free lecture. Right. And they invite you over to give the free lecture. In the lecture, you then explain that there are 10 principles that you'd like to explain. And it will take you about 3 weeks to do so. I'll give you the brief outline, but if the ministry will hire me to come back here, I will give you a course. So the lecture turns into a promo piece to explain what a course would look like. The model is, this is what he did. He said, I'll come over and explain some law in the United States. He did so. They were so impressed, they said, can you come back? I said, great. We got a 6-month contract, came back. And that part was paid. So the first one's free, but the second one. And I thought, well, what if I just didn't go over there and I just talked with people like you and encourage you also to get involved? Because essentially what we're talking about is, it's our ongoing conversation. What should we learn? Right. Now, this may not have been your idea for how to spend lunch.
You brought lunch, so I'm
okay. Right.
I am your liege.
Well, it goes back to the high school student walks out of the school. What does he have? I think Jeff's answer is he has a skill. Right.
That's what he should have.
Central. Contrast that to the plan that my parents had for me, which was from the age of 11, they wanted me to be ready to get into college. So every step of the way from 11 to 18, I was preparing for college, and I never learned a skill.
Right.
But I got into, 7 universities. Now I contrast that with some of my friends who learned how to carpentry, the different things. So when they went to a friend's house at age 16, at age 17, they could fix the toilet. Me, I could explain SAT problems.
Right.
Not very good. So it comes down to what is the curriculum? And we go to the 7 attributes that Tony Wagner talks about. I've now memorized them. Accessing and analyzing information. You got to be able to get to information anywhere. It's not that it's stuck up here. You know how to access it. Right. And then use Snopes to say this stuff is proven unreliable. Right. Agility and adaptability. When you're talking to one person or another, you're able to change the way you make your presentation to fit their learning styles, at least. Right. If it's cold outside, do you complain? No. You walk through it, please. I mean, the number of students that I deal with who are 18, 19, 20 years old, and they're complaining about the temperature of the room. They're losing the time that they have in the classroom to, well, they won't go outside because it's raining. Right. And I just told them that they have a wonderful opportunity across the street to improve their English. Right. So, initiative in entrepreneuring. Can someone take an idea and then collaborate, 2 things together, get something going and then work with somebody to make it happen? Critical thinking, our creativity, defined by Kenneth Robinson as imagination that has value. We can be imaginative, but if it's not a new idea that has value in the community, you're not really being creative, you're just being imaginative. Right. Interesting distinction. The point is that that's what I'm saying when people say, what do you teach? I won't be pigeonholed into math or English as a second language. The teacher of the future teaches these 7 skills. Your reaction.
That's a good question. You you need math.
Okay.
You need the knowledge of math
Right.
to function in the world. Accounting, da-da-da.
I didn't say I wasn't teaching math. I said
You wouldn't be.
I'm not going to be pigeonholed into it.
Right. No, but
Because people say, oh, math class. No, this is, let's start your own business class.
Right. However, the idea of there are skills
Okay.
that are learned by teaching root methodology.
What's root methodology? You mean finding a root?
No. That's not root. Learning. Route learning. What's it called when you learn?
Rote learning. Right.
I'm from Texas.
No, there's some value to just saying 2 times 2 is 4, 4 times 4 is 16, or 4 plus 4 is 8.
Because so much, in sense, in a lot of sense, the old educational system did teach value things. It taught starting a task and following through and finishing a task, which is probably one of the most important things it taught. And that's with this type of education. And you can't ever really lose sight of that.
We're not ditching the 1950s style.
Right, but you can't. But I don't think now we learn that. Now we have that same style, but we don't necessarily teach those same skills. But that definitely is a skill that is learned. Follow through, completion. That's not something I don't think is naturally within us to do.
I think it's evidence because there are some kids who are in 10th grade who don't know their multiplication table. Obviously, they haven't had the follow-through. They went through 4th grade, they sat through it,
Right.
and they were introduced, they started to learn the math tables. They can get up to 4 times 4. They can do all the squares, but you do 7 times 8, and they're flummoxed because they did not complete the 10 times 10.
So I think that's where when I talk about skills, I talk about this as one of the skills. Now you may have a theme that you work with, say carpentry or woodwork, but that theme that you work with is basically to teach these skills and teach these knowledge.